All of this comes as St. Louis County announces another phase of openings that's set to begin next month. Our Corey Stark begins our team coverage this afternoon with that story. Corey.
Well, Sam, County Executive Sam Page announced summer camps, county pools, and gyms are scheduled to open throughout June. And parents will like this. Camps are getting the green light to open on June 1st. The plan is for pools to open by the middle of June. Gyms will also get the green light to reopen June 15th, but with strict guidelines likely to be in place, and those guidelines are still being worked out. All of that was announced today by County Executive Dr. Sam Page, and he is joining us live this afternoon to answer some of the questions that you might have. So, Dr. Page, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Well, we said at the top of the show, within the last couple of hours, a temporary restraining order against the gym House of Pain. A judge issued that. So what precedent do you think this sets for other businesses in the county?
Well, I think first we have to recognize that the vast majority of businesses in our community want to know what the right thing to do is, and they're just going to do it. It's unusual for someone to take another path, but when they do, the county has the ability to enforce its public health orders, and those orders are there to save lives and to protect the health and welfare of people in St. Louis County, and we'll look at each one of these cases on a case-by-case basis.
Speaking of gyms, what type of precautions do you expect will need to be in place when gyms are allowed to open in mid-June? And why not open them sooner?
So we met with a couple of gym owners on Wednesday in my office with our health director. I was able to attend for a few minutes, and we went over some of the precautions that we would have, and they actually brought us some really good suggestions. And we'll be working with them over the next week to develop those guidelines, but they're still under development. We have to recognize that a gym is not a place where you can wear a mask because you have to be breathing. You have to be breathing to work out. It's also a type of activity where aerosolized respiratory droplets are going to be in the air at a much higher rate than a regular concentration. So this is actually a very high-risk activity, and we need to be cautious about it and be thoughtful. And that's why you hear this same conversation all over the country. This conversation isn't unique to St. Louis. And it's a high-risk area. We're going to work with them to make sure it's safe for their employees and safe for customers.
A lot of people are also focused on pools, especially this weekend. Pools can open, as you announced today, in mid-June. So are you anticipating a large number of people gathering? Let's talk about residential pools this weekend for the Memorial Day holiday. And if they do gather, what advice do you have for them?
Well, residential pools are open, and that is a family unit. So we're less concerned about transmission within a family unit, within a household, unless someone is known to be positive for COVID-19, and then they have to be in isolation. But community pools can open on June 15th, and we'll be providing more guidance next week for those pools. But they certainly will be social distancing. Of course, you can't wear a mask at a pool, but we'll have some guidelines for people, and those will be on our website, stlcorona.com.
And Dr. Page, it's been a big week. Some businesses have now been allowed to be back open in St. Louis County for 5 days. So what kind of response have you seen, and have people been following the rules from what you've seen?
Wide reports that the businesses that chose to open, and you're not required to open, but you're allowed to open, but the businesses that are opening are taking this social distancing and our business guidelines found on our website, they're taking them very seriously. They're following the rules. They want to protect their employees. They want to protect their customers, and I'm really pleased to see the wide compliance with St. Louis County's public health recommendations and business guidelines. I'd like to see more mask usage in the community. We see a lot of people wearing masks, but we have to accept this new normal. And this new normal is wearing masks, social distancing, staying home if you're sick, and washing your hands frequently. That's where we are today, and that's what we have to be doing to make sure that we are moving forward and out of this pandemic in a thoughtful and responsible way.
I think a lot of people have questions about maybe a second spike of numbers growing after things do reopen. So what are the numbers looking like right now, and are you anticipating to see that spike?
Well, it's really too soon to see the change that could happen because of our cautious and thoughtful and slow easing of our our restrictions, of our stay-at-home orders. But we will watch that over the next couple of weeks. It'll take about 2 weeks before we see a change, and this is coming on top of the continued decline that we see in the hospital admissions, and that is from the very serious and effective orders that we put in place a couple of months ago. But we moved quickly to initiate stay-at-home orders in St. Louis County, That's why we did not have the devastation that we saw across the country, and that's why we're now in the position to start this gradually opening in a very responsible way, in a very cautious way, and can work towards getting our economy strong and healthy again.
Well, Dr. Page, I'm glad we could catch you because I understand after this you're going to get your hair cut. So are you starting to feel more comfortable being out in public? And if so, what precautions are you going to be taking?
Well, I think my hair hasn't been this long since college, and my wife told me not to cut it, but I just can't keep going like this. We got to get a little trim. But you know, I am glad to see a little bit more normal activity in our community, but we all have to recognize this is a new normal. Social distancing, cautious, slow, thoughtful. Let's make this right and make sure that we do everything possible so we don't have to take a step backwards.
Will you be wearing your mask when you get your hair cut?
I will.
All right. Well, Dr. Page, thank you so much for joining us. Sam, we're going to send it back to you.